Please welcome to the stage our next presenter, Guðrún Torfadóttir.
I grew up in Iceland, where all energy generated is renewable. Electricity there is clean, abundant, and affordable. Clean energy isn't a choice, it's just a way of life. So when I think of energy generators, I think of this. I think of hydroelectric, geothermal, and wind power. However, when I came to New York, one of the most powerful cities in the world, I was shocked that they're still burning coal to generate electricity. I started asking myself, did I leave my clean energy lifestyle back home in Iceland? And then the electricity bill arrives every month. A constant reminder that you're paying a lot for energy you have little say in choosing. Hi, my name is Guðrún Þöll Torfadóttir, and my thesis is called Designing Everyday Energy, Reimagining Renewables in the Home. In New York, majority of the residents are renters, and renters face a unique challenge. We live in compact spaces we don't own, which means that we have little say in how our building gets energy. Space is already limited, and therefore at a premium. Even if we wanted to adopt clean energy generators, we don't have room to accommodate them. And renters are simply not going to invest in mechanical systems for a building they don't own to become more energy efficient. There is no incentive to invest in systems we can't take with us when we move out. So how might we develop portable consumer products for people to reduce energy cost? The most common way for people to get into renewables are solar panels. They seem like the obvious answer, right? But there's a problem. They're not designed for compact cities like New York. And here's why. The average home in New York is 737 square feet. It requires 5.5 solar panels to power the home with this square footage for only one day. 5.5 solar panels take up the same amount as 5 parking spaces. And not many of us have space to park 5 cars in our apartment. Maybe this would be different if renters has access to their building's rooftops, but that's rarely the case. These physical constraints make it challenging for renters to transition into renewable energy. So my question became, can renters actually become part of the energy transition? I spoke with a range of subject matter experts, from politicians and engineers to designers and business people, each bringing a different perspective to the problem. Guðlaugur, the former Minister of Environment and Energy and Climate in Iceland, put it simply that climate issues are basically about one thing: removing fossil fuels and replacing them with green energy. And that clarity struck with me throughout the whole project. One thing I learned is that our energy demands shift throughout the day. And so do the prices. From October to May, electricity is 5 times more expensive during the peak hours, which is from 8 a.m. to midnight. And in the summer, they are 14 times more expensive during those hours. With this in mind, could we change when we use our electricity and save money in the process? I started ideating around a battery generator that could store energy during the off-peak hours when the electricity is cheap, and charge the home during peak hours when electricity is expensive. When talking to Sigga Heimis, a former designer at IKEA, she reminded me about the importance of having a product being easily placed in the home. And Guðlaugur's words came back to me here too. People don't engage when systems feel too complex or expensive. Whatever I designed had to feel effortless, and with all that in mind, I introduced the battery cubes. They're stackable modular battery units designed specifically for renters. The battery plugs into a wall and harnesses electricity from the grid during the off-peak hours, when electricity is cheap. Then during the peak hours, it charges your home, meaning that you're always running on the less expensive electricity, allowing the savings to come from the difference. The battery comes in an off-white color designed to blend in the already crowded space of a New York home. When presenting it to a battery engineer, he had a great insight. How about having tiny batteries like Legos that can be connected to build a larger system? That way, whether you live in a studio or a two-bedroom, the battery scales to fit your life. That idea led me to a mini version. The cubes snap together like Lego bricks, so users can customize the layout, shape, and pattern to match their space and their personality, turning something functional into something personal. Because when every cube can be arranged, stacked, and configured to your own taste, the battery stops being an appliance and becomes a piece of art that's uniquely yours. But why a wall frame specifically? So I did a survey, and participants answered that the most unused space in their home are the walls. So that's exactly where the battery should live. Now the battery is sitting in our apartment, taking up space and pulling electricity from the grid. How can we harness electricity in other ways while making better use of our space for other purposes? And more specifically, how can we capture electricity through the kinetic movements that already happens in our homes? Introducing Rygge, an energy generating chair. Rygge was inspired by Danish mid-century furniture, and to charge, you plug your device and start rocking the chair. But why a rocking chair? I explored all kinds of kinetic movements in the home, such as doors, handles, sinks, and more. But I kept coming to one principle I'd taken from Sika: don't waste the precious space. Whatever I designed had to already exist in the home. And one of the most common furniture pieces in the homes are chairs. Since chairs can be rocked, I want to take advantage of that movement to create electricity. And one way to create electricity is using piezoelectric material. But how does that work? So this is piezoelectric material. When the material is put between two metal plates and is put under pressure, it creates electric charge. Kind of like when you squeeze a wet sponge, water comes out of it, but instead water is actually electricity. And now by embedding this material into rockers, every rocker generates a small amount of electricity. The movement was always there, but now it's just finally being put to work. But designing products wasn't enough for me. I kept asking myself, how do we spread awareness about renewable energy to the people of New York City? I thought back how I personally connect to renewable energy in Iceland. It was never about technology or infrastructure for me. It was about nature, purity, and the feeling that energy around you is alive and clean. And I wanted New Yorkers to experience that, even if it's just a small version of that. I started sketching out the hand crank generator. I wanted to build it from scratch, so I went to the basics, using copper wire and magnets. When spinning the generator, it powers a string nestled in moss. You generate the energy and you see it come to life right in front of you. It's not really about saving the planet in the moment. It's about making the connection feel real and personal for the very first time. So here are my 3 projects: the battery cubes, Rygge, and Draf, the hand crank generator. Together, they represent a vision for how renewables can live in the city. Not on a rooftop or in a power plant, but right where you are. Growing up in Iceland, clean energy was just life. It wasn't a political statement or a luxury. It was simply how things were. And moving to New York, I realized that most people have never had that experience. And I wanted to change that, even in a small way. This is how I'm bringing a piece of my home to the city, and I hope it opens up conversations because there are endless possibilities to generate renewable energy all around us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Guðrún.
Thank you.
That's amazing. I remember your background's in engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the fall, you had pages and pages of really intimidating math. And you looked down at it sort of bored and were like, ugh, and wanted to make way for this furniture designer to emerge. And she did.
Yeah.
You got a lot of hats. And so what's the plan?
I think I kind of want to work on integrating technology into furniture. I would love to start a company, But however, I think I kind of want to, get some industry like knowing. But I don't know. I would love to become like the Iron Man of furniture, to be honest. I think that would be cool.
The Iron Man of furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, the VFL is yours until mid-August. So, Tony,
Yeah.
what's step one?
Step one?
Yeah.
Jeez, I haven't thought about that. Just making, sketching, doing everything.
So, do you have other pieces in the line, and would they all involve piezoelectricity and kinetic motion?
Well, I would love to go from piezoelectricity to kinetic motion, because I just believe that will create more or produce more electricity. But I also really want to focus on making furniture look simple and good, because I feel like most of the technological furniture devices, they look too techy and don't look good, and I don't want them in my home. So I feel like there's a space that we can create to make more good-looking technology furniture.
That's kind of your general thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, make this work in the home, bring aesthetics into it. And the market is getting big enough that you can do that.
Yeah, of course.
Not just in Iceland.
No, not just in Iceland.
So you're going to stay here and do that?
Yeah, I want to stay here.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.